Hello, welcome back, Recapped Mystery here. Today, I'm going to explain a comedy film, Superbad. Watch out and take care. Seth talks over the phone with his friend Evan about various streaming services he's thinking about joining. They analyze the benefits and drawbacks before Seth arrives at Evan's house to take him up for school. It's their senior year, and graduation is quickly approaching. As a result, Seth believes he has every right to park his car in the faculty parking lot while he and Evan go to the petrol station before school. Inside, they go over some of the naughty mags and have some snacks. They talk about Evan's crushes on Becca and Seth's crushes on Jules. They assume that they may only have a little time left to lose their virginity before college, as they do not want to show they're as virgins. When they were about to leave the petrol station, a gang of thugs, led by Jesse, cut them off. Jesse informs them that they are not permitted to attend his graduation celebration and spits on Seth. They are humiliated and walk away without a fight. Becca returns Evan's pen after class and asks if he's coming to Jesse's graduation party. He tells her that he's thinking about it, but that he has a lot of other exciting things planned, so he's not sure whether he'll be able to make it. She claims she never sees him at any of the events, so she thought he didn't attend any of them. Seth is dissatisfied in culinary class because he doesn't have a partner and must do all of the work himself. Because Jules' partner did not show up the day, the teacher tells him he can partner with her. They had a great time baking together, and she invites him to a party she's throwing at her place that night. Seth tells Evan about the party, and they agree not to tell their other friend Fogel because he's a jerk. Fogel appears in their class and informs them that he intends to get a phony ID after school. Seth views this as a chance to impress Jules and tells her, Fogel, about the party in order to buy them drinks and make them appear cool in front of the girls. He informs Jules that he will be obtaining a phony ID and bringing beverages to the party. Seth is angry because Evan and Fogel are both accepted to the same school because Evan is his best friend and they had always intended to attend college together. They continue talking about girls during lunch, and Evan pulls him out on how disrespectfully he talks about Becca. Seth confesses that he dislikes her because they were classmates in elementary school. Seth obsessively drew sketches of dogs, and Becca caught him in the process one day. She informed the principal, who informed his parents, who ordered him to visit a counselor. Jules approaches Seth after class to ensure that he will still bring beverages to the party. She hands him $100 and specifies the types of drinks she desires. He leaves after assuring her that he'll be there with the beverages. Seth informs Evan of the scenario and how he intends to dazzle Jules with the drinks and get her intoxicated enough for her to be interested in him. Evan tries to explain that Jules is only interested in him for the drink, but Seth convinces Evan that this is their last chance to get laid before college. Evan tells Becca about the party and informs her that he will be bringing drinks. He offers to buy her some, and she appears pleased. Seth and Evan are excitedly waiting for Fogel after school, and when he arrives, Seth is outraged that Fogel has purchased an extremely fake-looking ID with only one name on it. Cloven claims to be 25 years old and from Hawaii. Fogel assures them that the ID will function properly. They return to Seth's automobile only to discover that it has been towed from the faculty parking. Seth and Evan return to Evan's place to prepare for the party, and they agree to pick up Fogel after he gets off work. Seth is unable to collect his own clothes from his house because going home would result in him being grounded for the car being towed, and he is unable to wear any of Evan's clothes because they are too tiny. His only alternative is to dress in Evan's father's clothes. They catch the bus to meet Fogel outside the grocery store where he works. Again, Seth is irritated by how false the idea appears and declares that he will simply go inside the grocery shop and steal the alcohol himself. Once inside, he can't stop thinking about all the numerous ways the situation could go wrong, so he gives up and returns to his pals in the parking lot. They board another bus to a liquor store and hand over the money and a list of all the alcohol they'll need for the party to Fogel. Fogel becomes nervous and tries to leave, but Seth pressures him into staying. When Fogel goes to check out, he is assaulted by a robbery suspect, and the cashier contacts the cops. Seth and Evan decide to dip after assuming the police had arrived to arrest Fogel for attempting to use a phony ID. A man in the parking lot runs over Seth. He offers to drive them to a liquor store provided they pledge not to report him to the cops. Seth and Evan reach an agreement and get in the car. The officers question the cashier and then Fogel in the booze store. They check his identification and commend McLovin on his kick-ass moniker. They offer him a lift because he missed his bus. Seth and Evan enter inside the party that the man was going to. The man they arrived with is immediately booted out and beaten up by the host because he was not invited. Seth and Evan decide to take advantage of the distraction and depart. When they return inside, Seth recommends they take some of the liquor with them, but Evan thinks it's a bad idea and leaves. The cops accompanying McLovin must attend to police business at a nearby pub and take him with them. Inside, there is a disorderly drunk, and McLovin unintentionally assists the cops in apprehending him. The cops decide to celebrate by buying McLovin a couple rounds of beers and give him dating advice. Seth becomes engrossed in the party while attempting to obtain some beverages and ends up dancing erotically with one of the women. After they've finished, Seth enters the living room, where two men point out the period stain on his pant leg after dancing with the female. Seth is disgusted and walks downstairs to try to wash the stain away. Evan calls Becca on one of the house phones to let her know he's still on his way. While I'm on the phone, several males enter and begin taking nose medicine. They mistake him for someone they saw at a prior party, and Evan plays along with them to avoid getting in trouble. While in the basement, Seth discovers a large stockpile of drinks in the refrigerator and begins filling neighboring detergent containers with booze. The cops continue to drink with McLovin until they are summoned to break up Seth and Evan's house party. They bring more than a dozen beers with them on the road. When Seth returns upstairs with the detergent containers, he is accosted by the party's host. The woman with whom Seth had been dancing was the host's fiancée. A massive fight ensues, and Seth and Evan manage to flee. Once on the road, Seth expresses his displeasure with Evan for abandoning him at the party and for abandoning him to attend college. The cops then drive down the street, inebriated and with Fogel still in the car, and hit Seth. They hold Seth and Evan at gunpoint and try to turn the situation around by blaming the lads because they are underage and have booze. One of the cops prepares a witness report for Fogel to sign, ensuring that the cops are not responsible for beating Seth. He exits the back of the car after handing Fogel a cigarette to button him up and notices Seth and Evan there. Evan flees to distract the cops, while Seth and Fogel flee in the opposite direction. The cops lose the boys, and they reunite. They still have the alcohol and are barely 3 blocks away from the celebration. When Seth learns that Evan will be rooming with him, the two get into a little brawl outside. In college, Fogel, Seth takes the drink and enters the party alone, where Jules notices him and alerts everyone to his presence. They're all celebrating Seth, and he's drinking a lot. One of Becca's friends approaches Evan and informs him that Becca is quite inebriated and has been waiting for him all night. Evan argues it's unethical to try to be physical with Becca while she's intoxicated, but her friend says it's fine if he's also drunk. He goes to the toilet with a bottle of spirits and attempts to get intoxicated. Fogel notices the girl he's been eyeing at school dancing in the living room and chooses to dance with her and wow her with his forged identification. When Evan is drunk, he goes outside to Becca, and they drink some more before she brings him inside and upstairs to rent a room. They try to massage each other, but Evan becomes uneasy and claims he's too inebriated. Becca mocks him and then vomits, asking that he go fetch her buddy to take care of her. Seth locates Jules and invites her to meet with him outside. He makes a move to kiss her, but she declines, stating that she is entirely sober and does not feel comfortable kissing him or doing anything else while he is this inebriated. Seth becomes enraged when his plan fails and passes out, accidentally hitting Jules in the eye with his head. When the cops arrive to break up the party, they threaten the teenagers with weapons if they do not leave the property. When Seth learns that the cops have arrived, he quickly goes in search of Evan. Seth discovers him passed out on the couch after excessive drinking and lifts him up and carries him out of the party. The cops go upstairs to find Fogel having an affair with the girl he was dancing with, and the girl freaks out and flees. The cops apologize for interrupting and explain that they knew his name wasn't McLovin the entire time but wanted to show him and themselves that cops can have fun, too. They ask Fogel how they can make amends for their interruption, and Fogel has them escort him from the party and put him in the back of the car so all the kids on the lawn think he's awesome. Evan awakens while Seth is carrying him, and they apologize for their disagreements throughout the night. Evan invites Seth to his house for a sleepover. They lie on the floor in sleeping bags, telling each other that they will be sad to go for college. The boys exchange I love yous before passing out intoxicated. Seth appears humiliated the next morning, but Evan tries to make things right by asking if he wants to hang out instead of hurrying back home. They agree to travel to them all together so Evan may buy a comforter for his college dorm room. Seth and Evan meet into Becca and Jules while shopping at the mall. Becca is there to buy a new comforter for Jules after puking on the one she previously had. The four kids exchange awkward apologies, and everything appears to be forgiven. Jules proposes that Seth accompany her so that he can buy her makeup to conceal her black eye. Evan and Becca decide to go comforter shopping together. Please subscribe to assist the channel, turn on notification and leave a like. Thank you for taking the time to watch. See you again soon.